Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is Richard Kuhn, the SVP of Business Development at Finicity. I'm here with Brett Moore, Director of Product Marketing, and we're excited to discuss consumer permission data and verification solutions today. Finicity's digital verification solutions are helping lenders transform their manual processes of assessing borrower assets, income, and employment in order to meet or exceed the digital expectations of consumers and borrowers. It is all done through the use of consumer permission data to enable faster loan closings and reduce the burden of traditional documentation in the loan origination process. With that, I'll turn the time over to Brett to discuss the consumer experience in this model.
Thanks, Richard. This is such an exciting topic, and I absolutely love it. And I'm really happy to be talking about this. This should not surprise anyone right now that we are talking about our lives as digital consumers. I think we're sort of living through a different epoch of that right now. You can see it happening everywhere around us, but there is an ever-growing demand, consumer demand for anytime, anywhere, convenience and empowering experiences. And consumers are, in exchange for that, consumers are offering brand loyalty, they're offering referrals, and they're offering a willingness to even pay more for better experiences. And so the more digital we can get, the more businesses can identify what are the unique characteristics of consumers and how do they live their digital lives, and then their ability to actually respond to that or to either meet or exceed their expectations can turn a business opportunity into market leadership. And that's really what's making the difference. You can see that here through some of these statistics, but understanding the needs or expectations of your customers and being able to do that can produce great results, whether that's market share or just being able, as I mentioned earlier, just having a better customer experience. I want to quickly cite a business executive, Dan Hess, and he says a good customer experience is actually less expensive to provide than a poor one. And customers will pay more for a good one than for a bad one. Nothing drives profitability like an excellent customer experience does. I think that we live in this period of time when this should be the norm, and market leaders are going to continue to rise to the top. It's not too late. There are always going to be leaders, but it is not too late. As it relates to digital lending and bringing the digital experience into the lending experience, the faster these lenders can get there, the better the opportunities and the advantages that they are going to have. So something really powerful. I just see it as a huge opportunity for digital lenders. Richard?
Great. So consumer permission data provides the foundation for improved customer experience. So as Brett mentioned, current methodologies that are used in the industry today cause significant issues, most of them related to time delays or inaccurate information, or even potentially sometimes fraud. With the requirement for borrowers to put together large amounts of PDF statements and all of those types of information and send them in, it's really difficult, and it creates issues where loan officers have to go back to them multiple times to try and get the appropriate data. And really what we want to focus on in a full digital experience is really related to that customer being at the center of that process and owning control and access related to all of their own data. It puts them into a much different position within the process. It will speed up time to getting reports to loan officers that will give them the ability to push the loans forward more quickly. The other thing that it does is it provides the ability for a consumer to control that experience. And we'll talk about some of the ways that our data connections currently work and the control and access that it gives to them within their online banking suite to ensure that these permissible purposes that they're providing are controlled and managed by the consumer. Another critical piece to this when we look at Finicity's digital solutions is Finicity is the only provider that is a full CRA. So the ability to work within the mortgage industry and ensure that we're supporting the regulatory posture and all of the things that need to be done within that framework really differentiates Finicity above some of our competitors. The ability to do full file disclosure as well as full dispute resolution process, if any of those are ever needed, is really critical to us supporting our partners as well as the lenders and ultimately the consumer, where it gives them additional power. They feel like that they really know all of the data that went into the loan decisioning process, and that they're able to be a participant in that and really understand the data that's flowed into making their loan. In the direct data connections, one of the things that we like to talk about is currently in today's world, data access has been around for a long time. Finicity has really perfected the art of that in really focusing on structured data sources so that when we're doing the user permission model and the consumer is providing access and to their data, that Finicity always has the ability to go to financial institutions and pull those in the majority of cases for a structured data file that's sitting within that financial institution. It ensures quality of data and it ensures the ability for our verification of asset reports to be accurate and to be provided in a timely basis. But obviously, Finicity wants to continue moving the market forward and improving and ensuring that we're really leading the market and driving the next wave of technology that will make this process more efficient. So one of the ways that we're doing that is with direct API connections. And so instead of going through the old model through a financial institution's front-end website, what these direct API connections allow us to do is to create a relationship directly with the bank. It allows us to link to a system that is specific to allowing access to a core data access provider like Finicity. And it allows us to implement OAuth technology that allows the consumer to authenticate with their bank and then allows just a token to go to Finicity. So it's one of the ways that we make the consumers feel comfortable with all of the security that's associated with that, because ultimately they're logging into their bank and that bank is partnering with Finicity to be able to provide that data that ultimately drives the verification of asset report. And then the final piece of that is the control mechanism that we talked about is working within this direct API and access model. What it allows Finicity to do is it provides a control mechanism where the consumer themselves can basically, inside their online banking, there will be a tab associated with that with all the data providers that they have permission data to, with an ability to terminate the access to that when it's appropriate, when the permissible purpose has been completed and the loan is finished, and then that access is no longer provided. And as I mentioned, part of the user experience is ensuring that Finicity can provide customized data to meet your needs. And we do that in a number of different ways. Finicity provides direct API access, but also importantly here is that we provide the capability for lenders in whatever their situation is to pull reports through the platforms of their choice. Obviously, in this particular case, having that ability to go through Consumer Connect and through Ellie Mae and Compass allows us to pull those reports very efficiently and to allow the loan officer or the lender entity to determine how they want that borrower to come through the process if they're an in-band process related to Consumer Connect. Another key point of making digital verification successful for the lenders is ensuring that we have the ability to provide data all along the path of the loan as it unfolds. And so the ability to pull the initial report, provide all the appropriate data associated with the verification of asset report, balances, transactions, all of that information. Finicity also allows for a 60-day refresh period, which will allow the loan officer to go in and pull that and refresh that report quickly and to see if there's been any change in the particular material position of the particular borrower during the process of that loan. And ultimately, what really we're focused on here is decreasing costs and closing loans more quickly. This is all about providing the technology and the ability for a loan officer to eliminate the need to do a lot of data collection, document collection, and spend that time with the borrower and moving them through the process and ultimately getting loans closed faster for them so that they're in a better position to make additional income based on closing those loans more quickly. And then the last part is making this process very efficient, that we can pass these loans in a complete closed loop system with the GSE through authorized reports. And that allows them to bring those reports, pull them from Finicity, complete their process, and then ultimately send that information back through their AUS system, and allowing the lender to complete that process and understand exactly where they fit with the GSEs. And with that, Brett, I'll turn it over to you.
I want to introduce you to a few different solutions. When we talk about our verification suite or our verification solutions, we're talking about verification of assets and then also verification of income and employment. Verification of assets allows us to deliver a variety of data points to your LOS, but also to create a report that is generated and is made available that can be included in the loan file, and also the information from that report is made available to the GSEs. Important to note here that these reports are Fannie Mae, day one certainty, as well as Freddie Mac AIM. So these reports are exactly what you're going to need these digital verifications are exactly what you're going to need to get your your verifications done and move these into your loan file and move the process forward. The alternative, of course, is hours, days, and potentially weeks of trying to validate this with manual processes. A second is, of course, verification of income and employment. What's unique about this is the ability for a person to upload a pay stub and then to have the key information off that pay stub is validated against the deposits in a bank account. So we're getting multi-source, and then we're going to cross-verify the information between the two sources, and that's going to allow us to do a verification of income and employment. Again, this just comes with a very high level of accuracy. This is going to make the process, streamline the process much faster, cut days, as we mentioned, days and hours off of your processes, as we've talked about before. It's going to also reduce your risk associated with this too as well, to be able to do this cross verification, to be able to compile the data from the bank. It's real-time bank data, and it's going to be running against those key information that's going to come from pay stub, and that's something that can be uploaded through just straight off an image that's going to from a photo. You can take a snapshot of it on a device, a phone, tablet, whatever that might be, or that can just be uploaded straight from your computer. And I want to show you a little bit about how simple these digital verifications really are. I'm going to walk you through this experience, and I want you, as you do this, I want you to just see how simple, how fast this really is for the digital borrower. And so first is that they are given either through your loan system, through a POS, or through an email that gets sent out to the consumer. We call that either in band or out of band, but there's different options as to how that gets delivered. Once the consumer is there and starting the process, this is where they will start. This is an example of doing an income and employment verification. So I will check the box and get started. I will then, it's going to tell me I need to upload a pay stub. Again, I can upload straight from my computer. I can take a snapshot straight from a digital device. And from here, in this case, I'm going to upload it from my computer. I pull it off my desktop. I upload that, it identifies and says, hey, you have uploaded the pay stub. Great. You sort of done half this process already. And then I'm going to start the pay stub. And then and now it's going to ask, okay, now we need to go and get access to the bank so we can look and verify that information. And it's going to just say, hey, you're halfway through. Let's just get just one more step. And it's going to now ask for which bank that your pay stub or your deposits, which accounts are they being deposited into? In this case, we're looking at one single financial institution. And so they will, I'm going to select the account, or my most popular banks are listed on the screen. If it's not there, they can then type it into the box, and it will start to find and come up with a list of all the relevant banks. And then you pick your institution and move forward. In this case, I'm going to log into my bank, and I do the login. It identifies, hey, you've got multiple accounts here. Which account is the one that you use to deposit your paycheck into? In this case, I'm only looking at a single account. So I'm going to select just the checking and save and continue. It's going to summarize everything for me and let me know that it has found, is this everything? And I'm not looking at alternative institutions. I'm not looking at a separate pay stub as well. So I'm just going to keep going through this process. And here we are, we arrive at the end. I want you to take note as we did this, just how simple this really can be. We've accomplished a verification of income and employment, at least the requirements for the consumer, in just a matter of minutes. A couple of things to note here. This can be done for a variety of use cases, including multiple financial institutions. It can also be used for multiple pay stubs or employers. So there are some other use cases that this is applicable for, very diverse. And in the end, what happens is that a report is generated. And this report is generated and it's made available to the loan officer through their LOS. I love talking about this report just because everything is so concise, so simple. It tells me right away whether or not I was able to match the deposit amount from the pay stub with the deposit amount from the bank statement. In this case, it says, yes, I found those particular transactions and I was able to verify those. And it has told me right away that, I've been verified for an income and employment. This report has a lot of other information on it that we won't go through now, but it does basically digitize the pay stub and look at some other deposit information that is summarized in here. So it's very valuable for you down the road. But again, this is how simple going digital, doing digital, and ultimately the process of becoming digital really is for lenders. And what a great opportunity to meet or exceed the expectations of your consumers, your digital consumers, with this type of an experience. Very simple, very easy to do.
Thanks, Brett. Appreciate that. As you can see, one of the critical things here is just having a complete one-stop shop for all of your digital verification solutions. This VOIE solution completely complements our VOA product that has been in the market for over 2 years now. And it allows the lender to basically provide a full suite of digital verification solutions across the board for asset, income, and employment. And there's certain benefits that are associated with that for each one of these particular market players. And so for lenders, obviously, the reduction in cost, the reduced time for loans to be made associated with it. They're highly accurate. It eliminates fraud. It provides all the core value that comes with digitizing this entire portion of the mortgage process. For the borrowers themselves, what we think lenders are going to see is over time, this is getting much more significant, where borrowers are demanding these types of solutions in the marketplace. They want these to be fast. They want them to be seamless. They want to be done with them very quickly. They don't want to be going all over and collecting a bunch of documents and having to provide those. And obviously in our current digital age and current situation, having the ability to do full digital verifications for wherever somebody is with their computer will just make that much smoother. As far as the lending technology platforms, this obviously just provides another value proposition of a full lending digital platform and our great partnership with Ellie Mae and providing those additional feature sets and capabilities that really make that platform provide everything you need throughout the lending process. And then the GSEs and investors, obviously for them, similar types of benefits associated with the speed with which they can intake those loans, they can validate them, provide information back to the lender, move through that process, have highly accurate data, and ensure that it meets all of their requirements to provide rep and warrant relief is a significant value benefit to the GSEs and other investors. So Finicity supports your digital verifications. As we mentioned, our smart onboarding. In this particular case, Finicity has worked very hard in the background to ensure that we can onboard lenders very quickly in a seamless and easy fashion related to our digital lending portals that allow them to do that. Through our CRA reseller partners, lenders are able to contract with them and get this process up and running very quickly. We look forward to having a less than 10-minute onboarding process where a lender can come in, get contracted, get pricing, understand the solution, go through the onboarding process, get their appropriate credentials, and configure those within either Encompass or within Consumer Connect, and have that up and running so it's very quick for their loan officers to start seeing the value associated with that. And again, our direct data relationships related to the financial institutions and providing this additional enhanced data accuracy, speed, and the availability of all the appropriate data elements that make up the verification of asset and verification of income reports that we spoke of before. Our structured data sources that allow all of that data to come in and be very high quality and allow our reports to move through that process very quickly. And then, of course, our security leadership being fully SOC 2 compliant and working with the FDX consortium for the next generation of standardizing this entire process of how we link to the financial institutions and then providing yet an even higher level of quality and speed to market, and our ability to do that across a very wide swath of financial institutions will support your digital verifications process for all of the time going forward. And finally, one last key point related to supporting your digital verifications related to a product-specific item. For a verification of income and employment solution, one of the things that we know in the market that needs to happen is to get a higher level success rate associated with being able to validate the employment for a borrower. And currently, Finicity is expecting a 3x improvement on that solution when we put it into market, and we look forward to delivering that for you. That concludes our showcase presentation for today. Thank you for all of your time. We appreciate you allowing us to bring you our digital verification solution.